If there was anybody out there that did not know where Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll would be employed going into next season, John Mara completely put those rumors to bed today. And as per Jordan Renan, Giants beat reporter, John Mara has stated he does not anticipate making any firings with Brian Daboll or Joe Schoen going into this season, excuse me, through this season or next season. And I completely agree with John Mara here. I cannot just get rid of these two guys. I think these two guys are future great general manager and head coaches in their respective positions moving forward. I really, really like Brian Daboll's approach at being a head coach. I think there's so much more potential left in these guys. I really do. I've always been a big Brian Daboll fan. I was ecstatic when the Giants were able to get him as head coach. And I just cannot keep going through a cycle. I cannot keep going through a cycle with this franchise where every 2 or 3 seasons we are firing guys left and right. It cannot happen anymore. We got to see things through. This is going to be, and I'm just going to go back and forth with this guy because I feel like he's like an ex-girlfriend of mine, and I just continue to try and break up with him, but she just won't leave. Daniel Jones, if Brian Daboll were to get fired, Daniel Jones would have gotten 3 separate head coaches fired in his tenure as Giants quarterback. There's a common denominator here. It's my ex-girlfriend. I mean, it's Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has to go, and then this franchise can reset itself. Let Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen draft their own quarterback. You have to let that happen, John Mara. I'm pretty sure John Mara's watching this video. I heard he's a huge fan. But, I'm complete lockstep with him here, man. You got to let these guys see it through. What's next? You fire Daboll and Schoen, you bring in Belichick? That would excite people. You bring in Mike Vrabel, you bring in some hotshot coordinator, you bring in some up-and-coming college coach nobody knows about. I don't want to do that. The Giants have played very hard for Brian Daboll. They don't quit on him. They could have quit last season. They didn't do it. And void of talent last year, the Giants still were competitive with an undrafted rookie at quarterback. So, I'd love to. I'm in agreement here with John Mara. I know it's been such a long time since we've won anything. I get it. It's frustrating. It's been, since the Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl in February of 2012. 13, 14, 15, terrible seasons. 16, they have that kind of anomaly of a season where the defense carried them. They get to Green Bay. They get hammered in Green Bay in the playoffs. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Awful years. Then another anomaly season. Brian Daboll, rookie season as a head coach, 22. Very fun season. Extremely fun season. But unfortunately, that 22 season is what set the Giants back now. As fun as it was. It was a lot of fun. But you got to let them see this through. I don't agree with firing guys every 2-3 seasons. When you fire guys like this every 2 to 3 years, sometimes even after 1 year, guys are getting fired. When you fire guys like this every couple of years, when you fire guys like this every couple years, it sets your franchise back tremendously. You can't keep changing regimes, not giving them time to build something, and then bringing somebody else in with a completely different outlook and a completely different plan than the previous person. It sets the franchise back so many years. McAdoo was hired after Coughlin left. He was fired after a year and a half. Say what you want about him. Pat Shermer was brought in here. 2 seasons fired. Joe Judge was brought in here. 2 seasons fired. Daboll's here. 2 seasons. People want him fired already. I don't see it. This guy's been nothing but successful everywhere he's been. Now, here we go. This is what you want to do. Is it Brian Daboll's fault that he's been successful everywhere he's been, except with Daniel Jones at quarterback? Or is Daniel Jones the anomaly? And Brian Daboll's actually a pretty hell of a good football coach. Every time Brian Daboll talks about Daniel Jones or has to answer a question about Daniel Jones, you could look at his face. Look at his facial expressions. He's done with this guy. Whether it's the owner, whether it's the general manager that are making him play Daniel Jones, I don't think it's Brian Daboll making that final decision. Daboll got everything he could out of Daniel Jones in 2022. And everything he could out of Daniel Jones equals 15 touchdown passes, not putting the ball in harm's way throughout that entire season. In the NFL today, they're begging you to throw touchdowns, and this guy doesn't. He just still doesn't do it. It's pathetic to watch. When you have consistency and sustained success, most pieces, because sometimes guys that on successful teams, they get job opportunities elsewhere they can't turn down. Some become head coaches, some get pay raises elsewhere in other positions or with other teams. Some go to college and become head coaches there. There's a litany of things that happen when you have sustained success. The main pieces remain there. And if this team is going to have success, it will be with Brian Daboll as head coach. I firmly believe that. I really do. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Won't be the first time I'm wrong. But now the next question is how long is the leash? The next question is, if you're on board with me and John Mara at this point, how long is the leash for Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen? Because to me, if they go out and they draft their quarterback this offseason in the draft, I would assume you got to give them at least 2 years. At least 2 years to develop them, to put stuff around them, which the Giants have started to do. But you'll have an established core here already. You'll have a very good offensive line once Andrew Thomas comes back next season. You have Tyrone Tracy as part of a backfield that I like. You'll have plenty of money next season to go out and get yourself an impact receiver. If you don't want to draft one, there'll be plenty of receivers in this upcoming draft. But you could sell me on a rookie quarterback, Malik Neighbors on one side, T. Higgins on one side. Giants fans would get very excited about that. It's the one constant piece that's been here throughout multiple head coach firings, multiple general manager firings. It's Daniel Jones. That's the constant piece that's been here. The quicker he goes, the quicker the Giants will become a better team with Brian Daboll as head coach. To me, it's as simple as that. Honestly, it's as simple as that. You got to give him a chance. I don't know whether it's going to be maybe even the Giants trade for a quarterback. Whatever the regime feels is best, it's their jobs on the line, not mine, not yours. Whatever they deem best to do, whether that's trade for, now I'm just throwing out, I'm throwing random things out, whether it's trade for Matt Stafford, whether it's trade for Bryce Young, whether it's bringing in a veteran quarterback to go for a year because they maybe don't like any of these quarterbacks in the upcoming draft, which is a possibility. You don't want to get yourself in trouble by drafting a guy just to draft him. And I think they did a very good job this year of not falling into that trap with J.J. McCarthy. The Giants could have taken him at 6. They decided not to. I think it was the right decision because you don't just draft a guy just because he's there. If they loved McCarthy, they would have taken him at 6. But again, I'm in full lockstep here with John Mara. I like the direction of the team. Despite being sometimes unwatchable, I really think it's a quarterback change away. I really do. I think it's a quarterback change away. And I think the Giants are going to fix that this offseason. If you guys have gotten this far in the video, please like it, share it, subscribe it. Pretty please. So we could blow up and make millions of dollars and I can quit my job and do this full time. Thank you guys for watching. If you got this far, I appreciate you.